Hey, good afternoon, everybody. How are you guys doing today? Let me get this untangled from me. Okay, there we go. Hey, guys. All right, so I'm just gonna do this really quick live, real quick, and we're just gonna talk about a couple of things. So amazingly, yes, was it yesterday or Friday? I think it was yesterday. No, it was Friday. Things have been a little bit different this past week because I've been off work. And so we were sitting, me and the old man sitting around the house. And um, all of a sudden, our local news comes on. And guess who we see on the local news? John Beckwith, Golden Gate Funeral Home owner, who's been under fire and under investigation in Dallas for storing dead bodies in the back of a U-Haul truck. And we're going to get to that here in just a second. We're going to talk about, that story. Um, he did he did a sit down interview with our local news, NBC DFW, or NBC Channel 5. Yeah, originally this expose had come out with Spectrum News, talking about, an anonymous email that was sent to over 100 individuals, 100 different email addresses, and talking about how the funeral home has lost remains of people, was storing bodies in the back of a U-Haul truck at one point during the height of the pandemic. And listen, just like I know people see my blogging and my video blogging, famous people to normal everyday people. Only, famous people, all they've got is just people, more viewers, like, and more, probably a little bit more money, maybe in some cases, but you would be surprised. They're just ordinary people, you know. People get all hung up in their feelings when they see, somebody that has a little bit of fame. But before we talk about that, y'all look at the screen. We were just talking about this a couple of days ago, earlier this week, or earlier, I should say, well, it's Sunday now, I should say last week, where we talked about how, Jake Paul, Logan Paul, and the whole fight that they want to do with Floyd Mayweather, right? Well, Tyrone Woodley is calling him out. Tyrone Woodley has told TMZ Sports that he's more than happy to put the YouTube superstar in his place with a violent beatdown. I just thought the title was quite interesting, and that the, title slash story slash narrative was interesting. They say that, Jake Paul's a culture vulture, a clout chasing culture vulture. Jake Paul is just a clout chaser going after easy fights to look cool. So says ex-UFC champ Tyrone Woodley, who has told TMZ Sports, like I said a minute ago, he's more than happy to put the YouTube star in his place. The chosen one is super tight with Paul's most recent victim, Ben Askren, and even acted as his cornerman at Triller Fight Club last night. Now that Paul's working on getting his next opponent, Woodley tells us, TMZ, he believes the guy is too scared to fight anyone he could actually lose to, calling the 24-year-old Jake Paul a culture vulture for his wild antics. Jake Paul is, well, we kind of recognize he came from Disney. We expect him to be like this little effing macho man that he's playing, but he keeps calling out everybody but me. Oh, I wonder how these Paul brothers are going to respond to this. The former welterweight champ added that Jake will do anything to make headlines and says his gotcha hat moment with Floyd Mayweather stole the shine from his bigger bro, Logan. They're just culture vultures. Like he'll vulture the juice from his own damn flesh and blood. My dogs don't move like that. Woodley says it's clear that Paul picks low-hanging fruit to save his image as a boxing badass, but if he wants to go up against a real fighter, Tyrone's his guy. You know, I can't wait till this fight in Miami on June 6th. Now, there's been some other, and I really should title a video to talk about this. Why am I giving y'all stuff for free? Why? But let me say this. Mayweather Productions, the company that Floyd Mayweather has, that handles, a lot of his like boxing and promotions and all that sort of a thing, has sued another company because he says that this fight that's going to happen on June 6th between him and Logan Paul was supposed to be in Dubai, actually, not Miami. It was supposed to have been in Dubai, but hey, Floyd Mayweather said he was supposed to have gotten his $30 million payment in, I think it was March 26th or March 30th or something, and that time has passed. He was supposed to get, one of a prescribed schedule of payments. Shout out to y'all motherfuckers out there doing what the fuck you got to do, making your money, boo-boo. Make your money. Make your money. Hold on, y'all. Let me bring up this other article. If I want to, I will probably do another video titled as such, and we'll come back another time on that, probably later today. I just wanted to put this out there, though. This is also what Tyrone said. He said, if Jake dropped his ball sack out of his stomach and signed the deal, then I think Floyd would be happy that I'd be the one to knock his fucking head off. More to come on that story. More to come. When will the Paul brothers respond to Tyrone Woodley? When will they respond to Tyrone? Okay, now let's go to the story that we are all here for. Let me bring up this article here. Okay, there we go. So, like I was telling you guys, recently, in the last day or two, right? I'm sitting here, and the old man, he's like, comes where I'm at, and he says, "Hey, check out the news. Go look on NBC 5. Go to Channel 5." And I'm like, "What is he? What do I want?" NBC 5 did a whole expose on Golden Gate Funeral Home based out of Dallas, Texas. Now, we've seen an expose that was done not too long ago by Spectrum News. Apparently, there are now 9 investigations into Golden Gate.
Members of a Dallas family have filed a lawsuit against a well-known funeral home, alleging they were given the wrong ashes. And a former employee accuses the same place of mishandling bodies. The owner of Golden Gate.
Now, watch this, y'all. Watch this. I'm going to go quiet.
Members of a Dallas family have filed a lawsuit against a well-known funeral home, alleging they were given the wrong ashes. And a former employee accuses the same place of mishandling bodies. The owner of Golden Gate Funeral Homes disputes the allegations and says it is not true. Sophia Beausoleil explains.
Every day, as people celebrate a new life that comes into this world, there's someone mourning and reflecting on a life that is left.
She was our everything. We loved her and still do and miss her so much.
As the mother to 4 kids,
She could cook. Yes, I miss her dressing.
Virginia Palmer Rankin, also known as Nora, was the pillar of this family.
She was a force to be reckoned with, especially when it came to her kids. Didn't nobody mess with Nora kids because they didn't want to deal with Nora.
Memories her children hold on to, because on December 19th, 2019, Virginia died at the age of 63 from a number of underlying health issues.
And I was the first person that my cousin called, and she told she said she gone.
A pain that is still raw for Kenora Palmer, her sisters, and brother.
And the one thing my mama always say, don't bury me, cremate me.
So they chose Golden Gate Funeral Home to achieve that wish, but are now questioning the remains that they received in this black box.
Now we're more distraught than ever because we will never know who is in this box.
It's like I'm living it all over again. And it's the fact that we'll never have closure. We'll never get the closure that we need.
We can't tell if it's mom or not. The paperwork shows that it's not.
Ryan Sellers and Jack Hales Jr. represent the Palmer family, and in February of this year, filed a lawsuit on their behalf against Golden Gate Funeral Home. The family held their mother's funeral on Saturday, January 4th, 2020. They say they made arrangements to witness their mother's cremation and continue to follow up with the funeral home on January 24th, 25th, and 26th.
So I was like, oh, okay, so where's my mom? And she was like, oh, she's still here. She's still here at the funeral home. We keeping her refrigerated.
But on January 27th, when Virginia's youngest daughter went to pick up her mother's death certificate, she was shocked with what else she received.
I just asked her one question. I said, so when is my mama, when y'all gonna cremate my mama? And she said, I'll be right back.
The family says they were handed a box of ashes, which showed that their mother was cremated on January 6th.
They have an indicator on there that suggests that Virginia Palmer's remains were cremated on January 6th. And as you heard from the Palmer family, they were calling well after that.
One of the directors who were there had said it was going to take a couple of weeks.
The lawsuit alleges the family was never notified of the cremation as promised and was provided an identification number with Virginia's remains that didn't match the numbers on the documents they received, which is why they believe Golden Gate, quote, mishandled or otherwise lost Virginia's remains, unquote.
We're very good at what we do. One of the reasons that we own our own crematory, so we never get that mixed up.
John Beckwith Jr. owns Golden Gate Funeral Home.
This is the entrance in and out of the chapel.
The well-known family business that has been in operation since 1980 and sits along I-35 in South Oak Cliff. Beckwith says he prides himself on customer service and strongly denies the allegations in the lawsuit.
Each person is identified by at least 2 people, the crematory operator, as well as a supervisor. So there's no way we would ever get anyone mixed up.
The Texas Funeral Service Commission says currently there are 9 complaints filed against Golden Gate Funeral Home at both its Dallas and Fort Worth locations, but wouldn't detail the nature of the complaints due to the open investigations.
There's not enough oversight.
Jim Bates is with the Funeral Consumers Alliance of North Texas, a nonprofit that advocates for consumers, and he says they've fielded complaints from the same funeral home as well.
But in all cases, what's consistent with the complaints with Golden Gate is when the consumer calls back, they get stonewalled or not answered at all.
We don't get a lot. You know, last year we had almost 3,000 families, so maybe 10 out of 3,000. To me, that's more than what we need, but we have some families that are just not satisfied at the end of the day.
But one of the recent complaints came from a former employee.
I took that picture because I was in shock.
Isaiah Darris alleges that while he worked at Golden Gate from August of 2020 to February of this year, at one point he saw bodies that had been placed in the back of a U-Haul and accuses the funeral home of not having enough room.
In the back of the morgue, there was bodies stacked up all over the place. There were bodies that were just sitting in the hallways.
We have nothing to hide. No one can ever tell you that they've seen a U-Haul here, that they've ever seen us misplace any loved ones here. They just don't happen at Golden Gate Funeral.
Beckwith vehemently denies these claims and accuses the former employee of being disgruntled and claims the photos were staged.
And we try to keep it 38 degrees or lower.
He says even during COVID, with the influx of bodies, they had space. As for the Palmer family's concerns,
I have an open door policy. I'll be more than happy to walk them through the procedures that we did with their loved one to reassure them that that is definitely their loved one that they have.
the Palmer family says after multiple attempts, they finally did meet with the owner, but say it didn't go well, and they didn't get the answers they wanted about their mother's remains.
I'm going to fight for my mama because that was my mama. You mistreated my mama, and my mama didn't let nobody mistreat us.
Which is why they're now leaving it up to the courts to get to the bottom of it. In Dallas, Sophia Beausoleil, NBC5.
The owner of Golden Gate Funeral Home confirmed he did meet with the Palmer family and says they did ask for a refund, which he refuses to give them because he says he does not believe his company did anything wrong. Beckwith says his attorneys are now handling the dispute.
Hey, everybody coming into the chat. Hey, Natalie. Hey, Shadow. You guys, I wonder sometimes. The first thing I told the old man when this came on, I was standing here and I was like, damn, I really hope that they'll put this online. I'm so glad that they did. This isn't the first time we've talked about this story, right? And it seems like there's other things I need to tell y'all about Golden Gate, okay? Some of y'all may not know this, and I didn't even really elaborate on any of this in my last video. The one that, I did, oh gosh, was it a month or so ago? It was last month sometime. We covered this whole Golden Gate scandal, okay? So check this. The photographs that were allegedly taken showed dead bodies lying in the back of a U-Haul truck and a lot of trash on the floor, filth, in the areas where, there are dead bodies, okay? Decaying corpses. Now, one thing that I asked out loud was, what is U-Haul gonna do about it? U-Haul has a sense of responsibility here also. If you know that your trucks are being used in an inappropriate way, or the possibility that your trucks are being used in an inappropriate way, it's not the first time that I've ever heard of U-Haul. They have a list of people that get banned from using U-Haul, and there's several funeral homes on that list. I don't know what it is about, using the back of U-Haul trucks to store dead bodies, but these photos that were taken by a former employee were sent out to, like I said, over 100 recipients with the photos attached. Several news organizations got these photos. And thankfully, as of now, there seems to be 2 legit news organizations that have run this story. Spectrum News and now our local NBC DFW Channel 5. So, the story's been a bit underground for quite a while. And some of the other accusations is that, there's deplorable conditions inside the funeral home and an overcrowded morgue, and just one of the accusations, this is all allegedly, guys. The man who took the photos says only some of the bodies were embalmed. Others were simply left exposed on stretchers and on cots on the floor. There are bodies outside in the garage, said Darris. They've been all in the hallway, blocking the doors, blocking the exit doors. It's like a slaughterhouse. Now, excuse me, y'all. Now, one of the things about Golden Gate that they're known for is these elaborate funerals that they pull off, okay? Like if you're one of the type of people that when you die, you want a funeral of that shows you standing up in a corner somewhere, you're dead, they'll make that happen. Okay? That's something thing we didn't talk about. So like while let me show y'all this. So Golden Gate Funeral Home also had managed to get put on a show. Was it TLC? They somehow managed to create this show about Golden Gate Funeral Home. And they do these really elaborate, like I said, funerals. But John, Mr. Beckwith, sir, come on, man. We're talking about a cremation. A cremation, in the city of Dallas can't be no more than $1,000, $1,500, right? The question I would have is, will he regret just not refunding the family their money? This wasn't no $10,000 elaborate funeral that you held. We're talking about cremation. And did I hear you right when you said that you have your own crematorium? Can anybody tell me what's possibly wrong with that? So did the Nazis. They had their own crematorium too. Now, I'm not calling you anywhere near the Nazis,
We could have your celebration.
Now, I want y'all to see this. Y'all deserve to see this. This is, now this was going on back in 2012, 2013. And if you're a part of Dallas, you hear the stories of Golden Gate. I mean, you hear the stories and the crazy funerals that they put on over there. I heard at one point, you guys, but they were doing like 10 funerals a day. All right, here we go, y'all. I want y'all got to see this. Fair use. Disclaimer.
Funeral Home Crematory. This is Tracy. How may I help you?
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. My name is John Beckwith Jr. I am the Chief Executive Officer of Golden Gate Funeral Home. And y'all know this is going to be an extremely busy week. The Golden Gate experience is our version of the traditional African-American homegoing celebration. We do not have generic funerals. Everybody's experience has to be different.
A homegoing is much different than a funeral. Homegoing is a celebration.
Daddy was a disco dancing machine. Daddy knew how to do the Watusi.
We could have your celebration anytime.
If they want to dunk a basketball, Golden Gate Funeral Home can make that happen for them. If they want to jump out of airplanes, Golden Gate Funeral Home can make that happen. Our services are over the top. That's why I have to have 110% commitment from my funeral planners. Anything less than that, and I'm showing you the door. If we continue to work together like I know we can, we're going to make these families extremely happy at the worst moments of their lives.
I mean, I don't even know what to say. Now, oh my gosh. I mean, that's his lick, okay? That's his business, that's what he does at his place of business, I'm not hating on it. Some people do want a interesting or unique homegoing. No question about that. Some really, really do. They want something unique. And I don't know if you guys have ever been to one of these funerals, but they are quite interesting, to say the least. He has a funeral home in Fort Worth and Dallas. And I know this is going to be kind of hard for his business. I know that. All of this, criticism and things that are coming. It's not the type of press that Mr. Beckwith would want. Of course, I understand that. I think that anybody can ask anybody who's a business owner, of a funeral home that gives off these really elaborate funerals. Is there anything that you could have done better? Mr. Beckwith, you are well known in the Dallas area. I mean, even people out in the country parts, my parts of the world where my friends, and I love the country, y'all. I do. We've even heard of Golden Gate Funeral Home. And I say we. I'm a country girl at the heart at the end of the day. Fall right on back in. Fry me up some frog legs and I'm down. I don't know if y'all eat frog legs, but they're actually pretty good. It's just like it's like chicken. A real delicate piece of meat. Okay. Like chicken. Just fry them up. Actually really good. It's a very unique send-off, and my understanding, there is, like I said, 9 investigations going on at this point against Mr. Beckwith. And let me find this other video that I did a month or so ago. I actually covered this story. Hold on, a month or so ago. Hold on. I'm telling you, if you guys want some very interesting things to look at, just go do a search on Golden Gate Funeral Home on YouTube. Wait a minute. Hold up. What is this? A TV ad. Must see. Y'all, let's just see this. Hold up. Okay, this is a TV ad that they did. Look at this.
Where am I?
You've passed away, my son. This is your funeral.
Wow, the new 300. These cars are beautiful.
Let it resound loud as the rolling sea.
I've never looked this good before. How can my family afford all of this?
They made the smart choice. They chose Golden Gate Funeral Home.
Yeah, that's a TV ad. Pretty wild, right? Hold on, guys. Just hold that thought. Because there's some pictures I want to show you guys that I've got in my previous video. Time. All right. I'm going to mute this. There is a family right. Let's mute that. Hold on, guys. There we go. Mute it and then go ahead and play this. Now I'm going to show these photos. Viewer discretion is advised. Again, Spectrum News dropped this expose a month or so ago, right? And now NBC has followed up yesterday. Okay. Hit like on my check video. This.
We loved her and we miss her. And now we don't have nothing to.
Oh, what I mean. Hey, Kimberly Hicks.
Anitra Palmer of Dallas still grieves the loss of her mother, Virginia Rankin, who died just over a year ago. But her grief is accompanied by anger that she and her family.
There it is. Here's the photo. Here's the photo, guys. That's the photo of the back of the U-Haul truck. This photo was sent out to well over 100 recipients. Majority of those, I mean, pretty much every single one of those recipients had some sort of involvement in news or reporters or investigative, people that are investigators and that sort of a thing. This photo, and this is all allegedly, is alleged to have depicted 9 dead bodies in the back of the U-Haul truck that was parked outside Golden Gate Funeral Home for a long time. There's more photos. I'm gonna let this go. Y'all check out these additional photos. Yeah. Could you imagine if your loved one was treated like that? You know, Mr. Beckwith, you know, sometimes you just have to take a step back and recenter, right? Just recenter, redo everything like from the inside out. All the fact that he wouldn't even return their money, the family's money, can't be no more than $1,500 for a crematorium. I mean, you know, I remember, well, hell, my father was cremated. My biological father was cremated back in 2012, and it wasn't even over $1,000 to do it. Sometimes it's better to just give people their money back. And I mean, now these are the photos that were taken inside of the funeral home. And John Beckwith is not even denying that these photos are real. He's not even denying that. But what he's saying is that these photos were staged. What do you guys think? There's still dead bodies in them, right? I don't think they were staged. I can see dirt on that floor. That has to have been on that floor weeks. Unless they were, you know, planning to stage it for a long, long time. I mean, you could see the filth crawling up from the floor onto, you know, these things here. Listen, I'm not here to try to fuck with this man's funeral home or nothing like that, okay? That's not what I'm trying to do. Not trying to hurt business or anything. But this is what it is. This is what it is. My understanding, there were several photos that were sent out.
You know, blocking the doors, blocking the exit doors. So I mean, it's like. I want you to
listen to what Darius is saying. He is a former employee of the funeral home. He's the one that took these photos. He's the one that got these photos out to the public. So, you know, honestly, I pat you on the back, sir. That is a U-Haul rental truck. Let's continue.
That's really vexing. You know, that could be, you know, that could be, you know, your mother, my father, my grandmother, especially the body that was face down with no clothes on. That, you know, it's very inappropriate.
Darius shared other photos he says he took of corpses in a cramped room and wherever else bodies could be stored. Some embalmed, others left exposed on stretchers and on cots on the floor.
Look at the filth.
There's bodies outside in the garage. They're all, you know, they've been all in the hallway, you know, blocking the doors, blocking the exit doors. So I mean, it's like I said, it's like a slaughterhouse. And unless you go behind the scenes to actually see it, you would never think that just being from up front that it looks the way that it does from the back.
There's no room in the freezer. So they're just stored. There's bodies everywhere. They're just stored like that.
Chantel Major worked at Golden Gate with Darius. She says she witnessed the bodies being stacked in the rental truck last summer.
What if an inspector from the state were to walk in there today? What would they likely see?
A horror film. They will see bodies everywhere, stored places they shouldn't. They will smell decomposing bodies, all type of human decomposition matter that no one, even us that work in the morgue, should be subject to.
Major says she was fired recently for speaking out about substandard conditions at the funeral home. Darris claims he left Golden Gate on his own. But Golden Gate owner John Beckwith Jr. says Darris was fired in February, but did not say why. Beckwith also declined to talk with us on camera, which is surprising. As it appears, he is anything but camera shy.
Morning, everybody. Morning. My name is John Beckwith Jr.
Beckwith was one of the stars of his own TV reality show called Best Funeral Ever on the TLC cable channel. Over the course of 2 seasons, Golden Gate gained fame as one of the most flamboyant funeral homes in the nation. As for the allegation that behind the scenes, corpses are being improperly stored and stacked, Beckwith told us by phone, quote, "I've never used a U-Haul for storage. I'm telling you that didn't happen here." That was staged by Isaiah himself or whoever took the picture. As for Darris's other photographs of multiple corpses stored in a back room, Beckwith told us, quote, "Looks like he kind of staged some things and took a sheet off somebody's head. I don't have a problem with that photo. I do have a problem with a person who would expose a deceased person like that."
Over the years, they have been the most consistent funeral home I know of in Texas that's been complained about.
Jim Bates of the Funeral Consumers Alliance of Texas has been in the mortuary business for 30 years. He says his organization has received 4 complaints against Golden Gate since September.
There's an individual right here.
He had not seen the photo of the bodies in the back end of the truck until we showed him.
But mostly, of course, it's just terrible looking because it's not covered up. But it's stiff, and it's turning colors.
What does that tell you?
It's not embalmed.
And the problem with that is?
Rapid decomposition of a human body.
State law says?
State law says that body's got to be refrigerated in 24 hours or it's got to be embalmed.
We also showed the photos to the Palmer family attorneys who say this could help explain the unauthorized cremation of Virginia Rankin.
You should have maybe given me a warning on this one. This is pretty bad. Wow. What we're seeing here is not carelessness, but gross disregard for the value of life.
The Palmer family feels Golden Gate is taking on more business than it can handle and is inviting disaster and doing a disservice to the community.
People all throughout Dallas County, they trust and believe in Golden Gate.
Yeah.
It's not just this family.
How many families they done did this to?
Right.
But we loved our mama so much that we had to do something.
We had to speak.
Mr. Beckwith,
Wow.
sir, you need to get your shit together. You need to get your shit together, sir. I mean, it looks like to me, that he also, it does appear that way, like he took on more than he could chew, right? And then, of course, when the pandemic came in, and, when there was a heightened, level of people dying and needing to be buried, it kind of does look like he maybe took on more than he could chew or whatever. I don't know. But what I do know is that there's no reason the back of that funeral home should be looking like that. It looks filthy. Just get it together. Get it together, Mr. Beckwith. I mean, if you can't handle the amount of work that's coming into your funeral home, then tell people no. You don't have to, say yes to everything, right? You need to get your stuff together. This is a horrible, horrible situation. It's really sad. I don't think Darris is to blame, though. I mean, and I don't believe all them photos are staged either. The one thing I do know is U-Haul has yet to make a statement on their thoughts on this matter. Even though we have pushed on Uhaul to make a statement, we've asked Uhaul to make a statement about this because in previous past incidents, Uhaul has taken the steps to ban funeral homes that have done these sorts of things. So I don't know what U-Haul is going to do about this situation. We're still waiting for a statement from them. Anyway, I hope you guys have a fantastic Sunday. Until next time.